This basil plant provided the most delicious basil all summer. Recently, the leaf color has gotten pale and there seems to be something happening with some of the leaves, despite there also being successful new growth, which I can see at the bottom of the pot there. What do I do? Also, how do I defend from pests without using pesticides since we're going to be eating the leaves? All right, so let's break it down. This is multiple parts. First, Matt, the pale leaf color, even though there's new growth, what is this indicative of?
Nitrogen, typically. Especially if you see on the leafy matter that's towards the ends, the new growth, that's going to indicate a slight nitrogen fade. In general, though, it seems fairly consistent, which when I see like a consistent dulling of color, that tells me there's just a broad fertilizer deficiency. You just need a broad-based feed, which we will be getting to later.
All right, wonderful. So to keep it more green, you need to add a good, gentle fertilizer that has some nitrogen in it, and that's how you'll get those leaves dark green again. Question number two, or part number two, I should say, how to keep it delicious. And this is where kind of the trickiness of basil comes in that it's an annual plant. So it as a type of plant is designed to grow, bolt, flower, and seed, and then die all in one season. So you've done a great job keeping it alive and making it last a lot longer than it would if it was just growing in its normal environment, not on a beautiful windowsill. However, over time, those stems are going to become woodier and the leaves are going to become rubberier. Oh,
Okay, sure, sorry.
that's a preview of the next question. So what you can do to help keep your basil plant from those leaves from not being as delicious as they were at the start of when you first got it is to prune it often, and I'll obviously make sure it doesn't flower, and if you see any start of flowering, to cut that off. But eventually, no matter what you do, even if you do that perfectly, this plant is just going to age out and it's not going to taste as good as it originally did. So there's something that you can do to make you feel better about that.
It's true, yeah. And I would say, just in general, I like this picture right here because it shows a smaller plant with some more delicate green leaves. And, as you see, you can almost see in the bottom corner some woody development. And it's true, the bigger and older a basil plant gets, the more bitter it tends to be. And so a lot of times, talking about, I think what you touched upon, seeding versus cuttings, the fresher and the younger the plant, the less flavorful, funny enough, it'll be, which is often better. When you have that really strong, bitter basil, it might be good for cooking, but you don't want to eat it fresh. And I think most people in general are going for more tender young leaves. Eventually, as the plant gets older and older, it's harder and harder to obtain that. You can certainly trim back and try to get those younger leaves, but
yeah,
my opinion, I like to reseed basil, fresh seed, even microgreens basil is amazing.
Yeah, so what I would do if I were you, since you loved the taste of this basil plant, is I would either now allow it to go to seed. You had a wonderful season with it, and then you can collect those seeds, and you're not going to believe how easy it is to sprinkle those on moist soil, lightly cover them, and get brand new basil plants that have that fresh taste that you're looking for. Or, as Matt was saying, you can take one of those younger shoots, preferably earlier in the plant's life before it becomes woody, and you can take a cutting of those, put it in some water, and allow those to root, and that will also help. But as Matt said, seeding is really the way to get the youngest, healthiest plants. But you certainly could propagate this basil plant as well.
Absolutely. And if there is a variety, if you're a real basil fanatic, let's say, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is an incredible variety of basil, I want to preserve this, that's a time where cuttings are apparently, commonly used.
Right, exactly, because then it's literally a clone of the parent. You'll get the exact same plant that you had before, which, how cool is that? Pests. How do I get rid of pests on a plant that I'm going to eat the leaves of? Which is a question that we get here all the time. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, okay, sure, yeah. So if you have a plant that's diseased and dying with basil, I toss it, right? It depends, okay? If I have a few aphids that caught really early, I'll hose those off, right? Those you can just rinse, you can rinse aphids right off very easily. But I don't want to spray pesticides on something I'm going to eat. Even if they're soaps, it's just gonna, leave a bit bitter, nasty flavor in it. In general, by the time you get the plant to recover from the pest treatments, let's say it's, something like neem, by the time new growth is developed and the plant's died back, hopefully it hasn't gotten worse. You could have just bought a new plant for a few bucks and you probably save some money. And I know we sell pest supplies, but we're not into selling stuff, so that's why we're doing YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the other thing you can do if it's a plant that you're just getting going, you don't want to toss it. As Matt said, it's unbelievable how much just spraying something with water can knock pests off. You can use alcohol, which can melt the waxy coating of many pests, and then that'll dissipate into the air. If you think of if you wipe out a hand sanitizer on your hands, it quickly kind of dissipates. Your hands don't smell like hand sanitizer, like alcohol all day. So that'll eventually go away. And then another option is you can actually provide I'll call it a pesticide, but a rosemary, some sort of pesticide. They're usually organic and natural, where the main ingredient is rosmaric acid. And what it is you literally pour it on top of the soil they'll call it a root drench essentially. So the next time you water, you add this product that has rosmaric acid in it. And then the plant will uptake that rosmaric acid, and the leaves will have a slight rosmaric taste, but only to the pests. It's not detectable by people. You can even use this if you're growing microgreens. The rosmaric acid is so undetectable that even in very small young plants, you cannot taste it, but the pests can taste it and they don't like the taste of rosemary. And then they're more likely to leave your plants alone. And obviously it's very safe for us all to eat rosemary.
True. I will say, I looked into it and it was my hunch a little bit with rosemary oil is that it seemed like sometimes when you spray some of these herbal extractions,
Yeah.
there's some inhibition of the plant's growth. And I actually read that there is some research around rosemary doing that to other plants. So I do think it does kind of inhibit the plant growth over time when you start spraying
That's
them.
a
But
really interesting point.
it's
Even if you
interesting.
use it as a root drench or only as a foliar spray.
I have to look back into the research, but it just seems like in general, when
Yeah.
I've noticed the plants seem to slow when using stuff like that. And
It makes
there's a little bit of
sense.
science around that. I got to dig in deeper, and hopefully the scientific
Yeah.
community does as well.